there's a lot of information, there's a lot of challenges when you start, but I think you have to just dive in and get the right people to support you, get the right information. You never know when you're going to leave, so you might as well take advantage of the time that you have here.
So many people in that space I've seen have that expertise in this other area and think that it's applicable to all areas.
When I talk to people, and a lot of people have these ideas, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But if you kind of stick to property itself, it's kind of stable. Yeah. So you have that continuous growth. And I've seen that over the years as well.
Arjun here from the Property Nerds Show, and I'm back for another expat episode. But this time, we're not in London anymore. We're in Dubai in the UAE. It's my last stop as part of the tour, where I've been catching up with Aussies who live on the other side of the world, work here, but they want to invest back home. They want to invest in their financial future. And in today's episode, we catch up with an experienced property investor, Tim, who works in the aviation industry here in the UAE and has been traveling for just over a decade, working abroad, living abroad, but being able to invest back home in Australia. We talk about his journey to date, tips for other expats, challenges that he's gone through, and some of the things he loves about Dubai and some of the things he misses about back home. So let's go into the chat with Tim and talk about his property investing journey with InvestorKit and being an expat investing back home in Australia.
Nerd alert! Property Nerds, the home for data-driven property investors, where we uncover Australia's hot and cold markets, latest headlines and trends.
Tim, welcome to the Property Nerds Show, my friend, here in Dubai.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, appreciate it, mate. I mean, I love just speaking to Aussies from all over the country. I've had a stop in France, then over to London, here for the last stop of the tour in Dubai.
Okay.
I want to go back to your journey, though. Moving here, how long ago was that, and what prompted the move to begin with?
In Dubai itself, I've been here since 2020, actually.
Okay.
So I've been here for 6 years, but actually left Australia in 2015. So I've been an expat for almost 11 years now. So I would say maybe just to take it back a little bit to the start of the expat journey. In 2015, I was working maybe 5 years into my career, and I'm in aviation.
Yeah.
So within aviation, obviously it's a global industry. So next steps are not necessarily in Australia. So in 2015, I applied to a job. The first place I went to was Qatar in Doha. So from there, I stayed there for a little bit. And then again, I was looking at the next step and I ended up in Hong Kong. So I was there for a couple of years, and then switching to Dubai after 2.5 years, I've managed to kind of had enough experiences here to keep me stable and keep me grounded. So I would say the initial purpose of the move was to grow my career. So, but yeah, I've been here for 6 years now.
You're well-traveled, mate. You've all the hot expat hubs you've been through.
Yeah.
Was it a career you always wanted to get into? Was this industry what you saw yourself in for some time before doing it? And did you always imagine yourself traveling? Was that a part of the plan?
Well, traveling definitely was an appeal, right? You know, when you're young and you're growing up, you kind of think about what you want to do, and traveling and being part of the aviation industry was a little bit sexy, you know. You get to see the world and all of that stuff. So I would say that was always an appeal. I started off more in the business side of things. Actually, I got a few opportunities in tax and business, but I didn't like it. So I kind of went back to where I wanted to see myself in the future, and aviation was really something at the forefront. And I ended up studying aeronautical space engineering at University of Sydney, and then managed to get in the industry, which is also a difficult thing. Now we're here.
Now, you've still got some roots back in Sydney with property playing a part earlier on in your journey.
Yeah.
I want to talk about when you move to places like Dubai where the lifestyle's pretty special.
Yeah.
Obviously, with travel and the experience you have in different countries, you must meet some other Aussies here.
Yeah.
And when some of the Aussies that maybe don't invest back home or in property back home and don't get that momentum for wealth, the same way you have with multiple properties back home, what do you feel the big differences between, say, the journey you're on versus what they're on? Because, you know, you're out here building a portfolio, still traveling, still working in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
But I also see the other side, which is many Aussies who do that, but don't build wealth back home.
Yeah. I would say that people in general, and not just Aussies, are in many of these cities that I've been, it's kind of transient cities. So a lot of them come and see what it's like, you know, have a step up in their career, maybe and don't really think too far in the long term.
Got it.
So I would say that the kind of living in the moment, living in the lifestyle, living the life, and I would say that looking back, for me, I've always known that my stints in these places have been short, and I've always wanted to keep my property growing.
Yeah.
My property portfolio growing. And I would say that, my wealth over time has been supported by my career, but it's really been built by my property investing. So, when I talk to people and a lot of people have these ideas, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But if you kind of stick to property itself, it's kind of stable.
Yeah.
So you have that continuous growth. And I've seen that over the years as well.
Did you feel property was an attractive vehicle because of, your knowledge or experience with it in the past? Was it for savings because you knew you had to just send something back and hold it? What was it that made it appealing as a vehicle itself?
As a vehicle itself, well, I mean, I came into expat life with already a couple of properties under my belt.
Yeah.
So I already knew the mathematics of it, the theory of it, and the growth that comes with property. So it was just a matter of like applying the same in a different, obviously, environment with being an expat and treated differently for tax purposes and all of that stuff. So it was more the fact that I had that experience, and I just, wanted to use my expat time. In general, you earn a bit more when you go for these stints, right? You earn salaries a little bit different to Australia. So I wanted to take advantage of that salary and invest it in the right vehicles, and property was just something that I was experienced in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the challenges that come with property investing? Was there like a few things that you're like, okay, this is pretty different now, I'm an expat?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say that obtaining finance, it's the thing that keeps you going in the property game, and there's challenges with that. Being a domestic person in Australia,
yeah.
But I think the challenges are even greater when you're expat, because they're looking at your salary from a different source, and they don't fully understand the tax implications. So you probably know in Dubai there is no tax implications.
Yeah.
So when you're reporting your gross salary, it's actually your complete salary. It is your net salary.
Yeah.
So and I understood from some of the banks that there's different rules that they apply to that to minimize their risk. So they may not take your full salary, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say that I was, I had challenges getting the finance throughout my journey.
Yeah.
I would say that also, obviously, you're away from Australia, and you don't fully grasp the market. So that's when you need a little bit of support to understand what's happening in the market.
Yeah.
Traditionally, for me, I've invested kind of in my local area when I first started out. So I first started out when I was 25 or something like that.
That's awesome to
it's,
get in so young, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it was due to my parents. So my parents helped me, and we looked in areas where we grew up.
Yeah.
So that's how that's how I was shaped. So, but being an expat, you don't have that proximity anymore to the actual properties. I would say though that having moved around a little bit, and also having different stages in life, you kind of understand what properties people need, right? So myself, as someone moving into a new country with just my wife, I'm okay with an apartment, right? With someone who's having kids, and especially in a place in Dubai, I'm looking for a bigger space, which is close to a park. So you kind of have that understanding as well, and you kind of apply it from here to the Australian market as well.
So some rules followed, but then some was like, I don't want to backyard it again and again. I needed to get that diversity. But what's interesting when you talk about those challenges of the lending front, it's like, oh, I'm not getting taxed right now, but us Aussies want to treat you like an Aussie, and we want to tax you. So we want to be like, let's just tax your currency. We don't feel Australian enough until we tax you.
Exactly.
But the banks definitely do shade down that income as a way to kind of get that approval through. But you're still able to get back on the ladder again. We'd purchased your property in Melbourne, diversifying that portfolio. How was that first experience of like now going outside of your backyard in terms of not a Sydney space that you're comfortable with, somewhere that you didn't know as well? What was that like for you?
Look, to be honest, I would I would. So my journey through to get to a buyer's agent has been, one that I've kind of started myself through listening to podcasts, etc. And when you talk to family back home, my mom would always say, "Why did you pay this much money for a buyer's agent,
Yeah.
right?" And my wife needed to kind of come on board as well with that whole process. But to be honest, you know, we 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 needed to understand the market in Australia, and that's something that we didn't understand fully. And we just needed the convenience and ease of having somebody look at that for us, somebody that we can trust, and to also follow us throughout the whole journey through getting the buyer's agent. So I really wanted to use a buyer's agent. I had to convince my wife a little bit. I got her on some of the calls with your team to just let her see that you guys are real people and that we can kind of have that rapport and trust to move forward with such a big purchase.
Yeah.
And then after a few calls with I think it was Lewis, she kind of got on board with the strategy and understanding that these guys are there to help us. So I would say that it's really key, and I wouldn't not use a buyer's agent again, because it really saves us a lot of time, and I have a lot of confidence in what was brought to us on the table, and it was just simple and convenient. That's also a huge factor for me.
Well, now it's real. We're here in the flesh. You know what I mean? Like a real person.
Yeah.
That's funny. But when it comes to that convenience, did you have a chance at giving it a go before using a buyer's agent, like whilst you're an expat? Because you've been away for some time.
Yeah.
And so did you ever give it a go yourself and then kind of compare it to before and after?
Yeah.
Like, what was some of the impact that you had then?
Yeah, I mean, when we were buying domestically in Australia before we were an expat, like I told you, we were buying close to us, something we knew. My wife bought a property where we wanted to live in Brisbane at the time. So it was all kind of like, not so investment focused. It was kind of like, this person told me this, and this is convenient for me now, and I think it will work because property will go up.
Yeah.
So when we went to Qatar for the first time, I wanted to continue the journey, and I was looking at properties in Victoria actually, and I was kind of applying the same methodology. Okay, I think I'm from Blacktown, so we kind of know that good hard-working people in Blacktown, if you go in kind of a working class place, it's going to be okay, and the prices are relatively cheaper. So I was looking for the same place in Victoria. I ended up buying a place based on those understanding and metrics. And that place, it did okay. I sold it in 2023, but I would say that probably didn't do as well as what I expect my last purchase to do. Because with my last purchase, I see all the research, I see all the data, and I trust the professionals to kind of have done that back end work for me. So yeah, in terms of selecting the property itself, there's a little bit of a difference compared to what we experienced in the past and what we applied in the past. The methods we applied
I think
in the past.
biggest thing I'm noticing is like you're seeing a shift in your approach.
Yeah.
And I reckon the approach now is matching your career approach too, because like it sounded like before the approach was gut feel, opinion, seek similarity, that's familiar as well, family.
Yeah.
And then it's quite surprising because you're the engineering expert, right? Like you're the guy with the brains in the space. And so I give that as a compliment to you, because so many people in that space I've seen have that expertise in this other area and think that it's applicable to all areas. It's like the opposite. It's like the same with me. Like I could not survive that day or, in your world and be able to understand to that depth. So it takes a lot of that, ability to reflect and go, you know what? I don't want to go off family, opinion, background, like similar. I want to go and use research data. How comfortable or comforting was that approach for you? Because that's very similar to now what the approach you take for your work and what you do there.
Yeah, it's comforting in the sense that I trust numbers, because numbers is part of my work. I also can let go a little bit because I've had the experience of seeing the growth. And even though I would say, I didn't pick properties necessarily on data-based heavy research, they still grew, right? They still grew. now I'm looking at it more like, okay, if I have the data and someone's giving me the data, I expect to have that higher growth.
Definitely.
And that's what's exciting to me about using professionals. That's what's exciting to me about, being in the game of property investing for another 10, 15 years, because hopefully that will all pan out as it's supposed to. But yeah, it's a little bit more like also easing of the mind, right? Like you're just kind of outsourcing that worry to somebody else to make that decision, to help you with that decision. And Numbers is a perfect platform to base that decision on.
Absolutely. Thinking about your next move in property? Before you act, get the facts. InvestorKit's white papers are actually packed with the kind of insights most investors just never see. From detailed market analysis to investment strategies that actually work. Whether you're eyeing residential or commercial opportunities, these reports will help you make smarter and more confident decisions. Head to investorkit.com.au and download your free copy today. Link in the show notes. And now let's get back into the show. Talk about strategy now, not so much the property, because of the property we've purchased for you now, diversifying the portfolio.
Yeah.
But you had our portfolio strategist Kit work closely with you, and he's been staying in touch to help you, go from a property to now a portfolio beyond what you guys have purchased. How important has that strategy been for you, and how's that helped you in terms of where you are today versus where you want to be?
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, that's what we struggled with a little bit before, because strategy is an important thing, and we didn't know ourselves what our strategy was, right? So we thought about passive income. We thought about increasing the capital growth, the capital of the property, etc. But it wasn't so clear to us as it is now of what we want to do in the future and the options that we have in the future. So shout out to Kit. He's kind of helped me understand what triggers I can pull. Let's say once I finish my expat journey and go back to Australia, what opportunities there could be for me and what I need to do in the meantime, as long as my expat journey continues, and how to prepare myself for that. So, we've talked a little bit about the commercial property. We've talked about what happens when I sell my property here, and that type of thing. So, yeah, it's really interesting to have that sounding board to although I understand, I've listened to past podcasts and I've understood strategies from different guests and all of that stuff. It's nice to have that person to, okay, this is my particular exact situation. What strategy can I apply to get to X? So it's really been pretty important.
That's actually a really important piece. What you're saying is something many people don't realize. They think that using a buyer's agent means I want to buy a property, someone buys it for me.
Yeah.
But what we really are is, from the expat perspective, especially, a property advisory, which is, no, we want to build the strategy first, reverse engineer the end goal, because even whilst you're working and living overseas, it doesn't mean that you're just doing it to transact. You're doing it still for a goal. Otherwise, why invest at all? You're doing it for a goal. So take that goal, reverse engineer how many properties, buy when to hold, when to sell. And then you're able to come away with a property specific plan and be able to say, okay, I'm clear. Does that remove a lot of weight off your shoulders? Because I imagine when you're living and working overseas and thinking and balancing between life here and life at home one day in Australia, there must be a lot of pressure on the shoulders of am I investing enough? Am I doing enough? Yeah. How comfortable does that make you feel? A lot more comfortable?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as somebody who's living outside of their home, you would always question when is the time to go home, right? So it's probably
you're missing the coffees, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, Dubai, you got amazing food, but Aussie coffees can't beat it.
Yeah, for sure. My parents always bring the coffee when they come here, the coffee beans. So
that's it.
So it's always in the back of your mind when is the time to go home. So you having a partner with you to help you make use of the time in between really helps a lot. And at the same time as well, you never know where life can take you, and your career could take you somewhere else in the next few years as well. So you have to concentrate on that aspect of your life, and taking away the whole basis of financial freedom and everything, and giving that to, allowing someone else to advise you on that really reduces the burden, because then you can concentrate on family, you can concentrate on your career, and I don't have to spend all my waking moments thinking about, what's happening with my strategy, with my property, because you kind of have a plan in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in your case, the opposite moments because of the time zones, right? So luckily you don't have to do that anymore. But mate, I want to understand. So if you're meeting another Aussie here, and they've been here for some time, and you've had the success you've had building wealth, what tips do you have for them when it comes to other Aussies who are here, working here, earning some great tax-free dollars as well, but they want to make sure their wealth is being built right? What tips do you have for them in terms of their wealth being built?
I think you have to just go for it. There's probably there's challenges when you start. If let's say that they haven't started anything and they don't know about the whole investing scenario.
Yeah,
there's a lot of information. There's a lot of challenges when you start, but I think you have to just dive in and get the right people to support you, get the right information. And I think most of the time things will work out. And yeah, just to it's a short time, I would say. If I meet someone here in Dubai, you never know when you're going to leave, so you might as well take advantage of the time that you have here.
Yeah, give it a proper go.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate. Don't sit back.
Yeah,
because time flies really quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah. 6 years now here, so it's
wow.
And 11 years as a
Well, what have been your, if you were to say like your top 2 or 3 favorite things that you've enjoyed about your 6 years here in Dubai, what would you say it is?
Dubai is a great place for convenience, mate.
Really good, huh?
Yeah, it's really, really great place for convenience. And the probably the other thing is that coming from Australia, you're transported now into more of the middle of the world, and the opportunities of that geographic location for travel is probably something that's not easily replicated for Australians. We have access to many places that, and I've been to places where I never thought I would go to, and probably that would be the biggest thing. I would say it would be one of the greatest things that I've had.
Any staff deals that you've been getting as well as a result of it? Any special perks?
Yeah. I mean, we worked for the airline, so so it's been also that helped.
Awesome. Well, what about if you were to flip it now and go the 1 or 2 things that you miss about home outside of coffee? Because we already discussed how good that is.
Yeah.
What are 1 or 2 things that you really miss about back home?
I would say the environment, right? It's the fresh air, right? The fresh air and just looking up at the blue sky. You take it for granted now, but if you live for somewhere where it's hazy or there's pollution and this type of thing, you kind of miss that greenery, the fresh air, the beaches, and all of that environmental stuff. Just being outdoors, the whole outdoors lifestyle, and also the people. I mean, the people are always friendly. When you're going for the coffee, someone will say how you're going, and really genuinely mean it most of the time. So I miss that interaction with the people as well. Yeah,
got it.
Yeah.
Well, mate, it's been really good chatting to you, especially meeting fellow Aussies here in Dubai. It's been an amazing experience. I'm loving my time here.
Yeah.
It's been a great few days so far here for the rest of the week. And thank you so much for just sharing a bit about your background in terms of investing back home, living here, the challenges to look out for, importance of really just building your team, right? But any final notes for other Aussie expats who are living, enjoying their life in Dubai like you are, and wanting to make sure their money's working hard for them and back home?
Yeah, I mean, probably just the final thing is that, compounding interest is the thing, right? It's all about that time. So you make use of your time and things will work out for yourself. And, you could really get ahead once you decide to go back to Australia, if you decide to go back to Australia, and really have that good basis. And when we think about going back to Australia now, we really are in a good position to live a different life than when we left, and that's really helped by the fact that we invested and we had this in the forefront of our mind, and we continued the journey and always looked for those opportunities wherever we were.
Right, setting up that financial future, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you joining the Property Nerd Show.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. To hear more like this and to help us spread the word, don't forget to leave us a rating and follow along for our next episode.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.
Game over.